Hello, fellow Gites, and welcome to this episode of the Gite podcast with our old clients, Sven and Sandra, who are from Belgium and the Netherlands. So thank you very much for doing a podcast in English. I really appreciate it. And they have got a Gite about 10 minutes away from us called Maison Saint Blaise that we helped them with when they started out. But when they started out, did they actually want to have a Gite when they bought their property? What really was the purpose of it? And is it still what they originally intended it to be when they bought it? That's what we're going to be delving into in this episode, along with the importance of being part of the community and the hunt, and what it's like to have TV crews staying when they're filming locally, and how to deal with any issues that come around that. I found that really interesting. And also about the rental options that your property allows you. So loads of good discussions that I hope you're going to enjoy.
Welcome to the Gîte podcast. Brought to you by Gîte Guru.
What a treat to be here at Maison Saint Blaise with Sven and Sandra, who are ex-clients of ours, and actually the only Dutch clients we've ever had, or Dutch Belgium. You are about 10 minutes away from us in a beautiful house with 5 bedrooms. And how many bathrooms? 4 bathrooms. A beautiful big pool and an enclosed garden, which is almost like a park. It's just stunning. Loads of trees and lots of space. And you've just installed a zip line between some of the trees. We might have to have a go on that later. You don't live here though, do you? You live in the Netherlands. So why did you decide to buy a second home in France?
Oh, it started quite practically, actually. So we were talking about buying a home or a holiday home for years now. Sven is from Belgium. Didn't want to have a second house there, so because that was not an adventure for him. And for the Netherlands, second home market is just a difficult market because then you will be fishing in a pool of houses that people just need. So it's really weird to buy a second home over there. We enjoyed going on holidays in France and then started looking there.
And how well did you know this area? Why did you choose the Dordogne?
Since 2017, we had some holidays also a bit more to the north of Dordogne. We loved the area, a lot of nice restaurants. We loved also the castles. Then also we found out that when you really live far away from all the activities, it takes a lot of driving. We also rented a house nearby Isijac, which is about 20-minute drive from here.
Yeah.
And we loved it because we also were wine lovers. And this area is particularly known for its wines, Montbazillac, Bergerac. We loved it. So we were really fond of this area.
That's a really interesting point you make because the Dordogne is actually enormous. It's probably from north to south, 2.5 hour drive. And from east to west, probably the same, I would say. I think you're right that there is a big difference between certain areas. And it's the north of the Dordogne still does have chateaux and activities, but nothing like around Salat and the Dordogne River. So you wanted to buy a second home, but you always had the plan to rent it out.
No, we didn't.
Oh.
No, that actually came when we went to the notaire and we got the keys for the house. It was quite a spontaneous thing as well. What if we would rent it out? And we actually thought it would be a really nice experiment. So it started as an experiment.
You are living in the Netherlands. You both had jobs where you had 5 weeks holiday a year, something like that.
25 days, yeah, correct.
Yeah, 25 days a year. The kids are at school, so actually you were going to be limited to how much time you could spend here. You hadn't made a business plan when buying this place. It was more, we want a second home. And how did you find it?
We also went to some real estate websites between brackets. For this house, there were about 6 pictures, really dark. So from outside, it was a really big park of 1.6 hectares. Some nice pictures about the pool, and inside was really dark. I started calling the agent. I started visiting it, and it was really beautiful. Of course, typically French, really dark.
Yeah, what we see now is not what you bought.
We did see it online, and actually, like Sven said, I was not that keen on visiting this property, actually skipped it. And then he came over here and then he said, oh, this is really cool.
This is a point we're going to come back to about marketing and why photos and presenting something properly is so important. You were smitten, you saw the potential of the place, so you decided to buy it. When you were signing the contracts, you had the idea, actually, could we make some money out of this? But how many weeks a year would you have used it?
Yeah, limited. I think maybe 4 weeks max. And of course, you also spend some time to do the maintenance, to start up the pool, etc., etc. So that's actually work time, not really like enjoy time.
So the time spent on the sun lounger next to the pool would be quite limited.
Yeah, maybe 3-4 weeks.
We were in there for the long run, so it would have been an investment if we wouldn't have rented it out. But it would have looked different, because when we decided we want to rent it out, we also make different kind of decisions.
We came at the point that you hadn't started any renovations and you were still wondering exactly what to do with the house, because there's one very unusual element which we were slightly concerned about when we saw it, but has actually turned into a bit of a unique selling point for you. And that is that it's on 2 floors, but the staircase is outside. And so one of the first discussions we had was, would you be renting out 2 apartments, one on top of another? Or do you do it as one place, but with an exterior staircase?
The previous owners who used this as a family home during summers, they told us that they did it on purpose. And we thought, well, it could actually be an asset, but we will save ourselves a big investment cost in building an inner staircase.
Because the quote you got to put a staircase inside was enormous, really.
Also, there was also some question mark about the electricity of pipelines for water, etc. So it was already quite investment, and there could also be an addition to it, depending on what they find when they break up the floor. You lose some space because you have to also cater the space to make sure you can also safely enter the staircase. And actually, it paid out very well. We had a guest calling us, and he asked about the staircase. And we were still with our discussion in mind. Oh gee, we're going to lose this customer. And he asked me, "Are you sure it's only an external staircase?" I said, "Yes." And 2 minutes later, he booked it for 2 weeks. And as a comment, "Thank you for not connecting the 2 floors together inside.
Yeah.
Because I want to put my mother-in-law on the first floor, and me and my wife, my brother, are going to stay on the ground floor."
So it's the mother-in-law staircase. Possibly the worst kind of Gîte is where you have one long corridor with all of the bedrooms off it, one after another, like a hotel. That it doesn't really work in a Gîte. And you made the decision, we're going to rent this out as one unit, not 2 separate units. We've got the external staircase, which gives everyone more space, more division. And it also gives you the opportunity of closing upstairs in the low season and just renting out this. Well, in fact, you've got a kitchen upstairs as well, so you could do either. And has that worked out? Have people taken it with less bedrooms?
Yeah, they do. Yeah. And what you said, outside of the season, outside of the summer season, smaller groups are coming over, and even couples. It's even an attractive home for only couples.
So you've been really flexible with your rental options, what you allow people to book at different times of the year.
Yeah, people want more flexibility, so we play into that.
Always rent out the place as a whole.
So you have exclusive use always of the whole place. And the house, although it looks quite old and it's made of stone and beams, it was built in the
80s somewhere. I think this area being popular for people who buy a second home, and that started up at the end of the 80s. And these kind of homes were built then.
Yeah, it has got loads of the elements that you would see in an older house. So it's not a contemporary house, but it has all the benefits of being new and looking old. The first time that we came here, it was really dark in here. All the ceilings and the beams were very brown, and it felt low and dark and enclosed. Once you'd made the decision that this was going to be for paying guests as well as for yourselves, you came up with a long, long list of things that needed to be done. You did get a quote from a builder to do all the work, and the quote was so high that you said, right, we've got to find another way. And you decided to do it yourself. You didn't necessarily do all the work yourself, but you project managed everything, and you did do a lot. Did you do the bathrooms yourself?
It was also a joint effort.
With somebody else who came to help, a plumber or... So you've completely transformed this room so that it's really light and airy now. You did such a good job on the kitchen. I can't believe how smart it looks now compared to what it was. And you've got a fosse septique then, a septic tank.
Which was also new to us.
For us too.
We also make sure that every 2 years we clean it. Maybe that's a bit more than regular in this area. We don't want to have any negative surprises.
So you came up with the plan for the renovations, and you found the right kind of people to help you project manage and complete the task. How long did it take?
I think we spent about 2.5, 3 months for all the jobs.
You came and lived here, didn't you?
Yeah. I took also a couple of months from work, which was possible. I lived here on site to do the jobs.
You've become such an important part of the community. You've actually also joined the hunt.
True. It started a year ago. On Sundays, then I want to have a break. Joined the neighbors who were also hunters. And I started following them doing their nature trips. Those days I walked for 12 to 14 kilometers.
Yeah.
It's where normally you never come. And if you see some deer, that's a bonus. But the idea is more being together, seeing nature, enjoying and respecting nature. And from there on, I want to understand more about population of wild boars. Then, of course, I had to do the formation day to learn how to manage a rifle, because safety is first. And it was difficult because I never, ever manipulated a gun. Whenever I would start using a gun, which I didn't do so much, that you at least don't shoot your neighbor.
For you, it wasn't so much about trying to keep the wild boar down in the area. It was more about being with the guys from the community and being out in nature.
Yeah, correct.
And then getting back to the renovation, you also did something really impressive. You did a lot of research into the classification. So classification is when you have a star rating and somebody comes to inspect the property, gives you a star rating from between 1 and 5 stars, tick as many of the boxes for. And you went through that with a fine tooth comb, didn't you? And really got to grips with every single question and incorporated them into the renovation you did.
Correct. If you know about the necessary dimensions of beddings, also the facilities in your bathroom, some seating arrangements, also light switches. So when your
EV charger you put in,
also
Yep.
EV charger,
you get points for that. You did a lot of research. You ticked as many of those boxes as possible, and you came out with
all 5 stars.
yay, the new 133 questions, which have only been around for a couple of years. I think it's really difficult to get 5 stars. You've really got to not drop many points anywhere. So congratulations, you've done really, really well to get 5 stars.
And for us, it was not only meeting the criteria, but also it always adds a comfort level, right? People, when they visit the house and experience the Dordogne, they feel a kind of luxury.
Yeah.
Not constructed luxury, but something which is already naturally blended in the house.
And how do you actually run this place when you're living abroad? Because you're very hands-on. I can imagine that you're desperate to do everything yourselves, but you can't because of the distance.
Yeah, so the day-to-day operational things is mostly Sven. Over the years, he is here a little bit more than in the beginning.
You don't mind jumping in the car and just whipping down. It's only 10 hours?
It's only 10 hours, correct?
It's only 10 hours for you, so you don't mind coming for a day or two just so that you can do a little project in the garden or something.
It's a small escape, right?
Escaping from
I don't know.
the Netherlands.
I do think it helps that he has a group of friends here now. It's not only fixing something. It's more than that. So he will be spending more time here with the projects that he's going to do. But even in the beginning, doing this remote, it worked because of the people we have here, the maintenance team we have, and the network that Sven most of the time builds.
So who is in your team? You've got a property manager?
Well, the property management is actually Sven, but we do have a gardener. He also knows a lot about the pool. That works out fine.
We have a cleaning team, of course. We also have a head of cleaning. That was really key to find such a person on site who can manage the cleaning team.
And who welcomes the guests?
Sometimes it's Sven, if he can combine it, but most of the time, Elwan. So we do it via WhatsApp or a phone call. And we have a key box at the beginning of the garden.
So you're their contact person. It's not that you have a contact person for the guests in France. And that works well?
Works well.
It works really perfectly because we understand the tone of voice. So we have many customers doing the direct booking to our website. Are the adults, combination of adults and children, maybe sometimes multi-generational, which we always reuse in terms of communications. Do you want us to arrange something for you? We understood that you have a late ferry. Do you want us to fill the fridge upon your arrival?
You tailor the experience once you know what the group is made up.
Yeah, and if they mention that there's a birthday that they want to celebrate or something, so you know that up front and you can do something with that knowledge.
Yeah.
And making it personal can be done from abroad because you build up a bond over email even.
And this is the task that you take on. So you do the marketing and the communication.
Yeah, so I do the socials and the newsletter, website. Sven is mostly about the bookings. He does the booking, so he knows what we like is most of the time also what our guests like.
So you are your target group. So you know what you like. And have you ever had guests who are absolutely not your target group and that you found it slightly more difficult to communicate with them?
Yeah, once. That was last year. We had also a professional TV crew. making some recordings at Chateau de Bureau, and all communications happened to, I would say, an intermediate person who worked in Paris. So we had no communication with the guests on site, and that was difficult. Say an experience which was not that pleasant.
They came here because they have a job here, so they only were here in the house at night after a hard day's work, and they were not actually responsible for booking this house or keeping it in a good shape here.
It was a place for them to stay, and that was it.
There was almost a fire. Yeah, so we learned from that. A person we were in touch with was not the person staying here, and that makes it more difficult.
When you have a holidaymaker who can choose between 1,000 gîtes and they pick yours, that means they are hopefully going to be quite loyal and in love with your place. And if it's just somebody from their logistics department booking your place and it's somewhere for them to stay, they're not necessarily, well, you'd hope that they'd have the same respect, but it's not necessarily the same.
No.
But that was a booking in really low season. It was in the winter, wasn't it?
February, correct.
February. So pretty fantastic to get a booking at that time of year. But
the thing is, we learned from it. We also get our terms and conditions way better from that one.
Learn from everything.
It would be a nice opportunity to host people here outside of the season. And what we learned from that experience, because they were here for a few weeks, is that we would have maintenance coming over next time for every day or maybe every 2 days just to check up on things. And that we would have included that in the total rate that we would be asking for.
Your alarm bells would have rung earlier.
Yeah.
Since we've been here, there have been 2 or 3 films done in Montpellier in the winter. We even had a friend who had a 5-star place near Salat, and they had a very famous Hollywood A-lister staying at their place, and they lived on site, and he and his family and private chef and a fighting instructor were staying in the 5-star gîte. He had 2 personal assistants, and one of them would text our friends who own the gîte to say, this Hollywood star is about to leave the building. Please could you not come outside? So for the whole time he was there, they never met him. They never saw him, but they did find a fighting axe lying on the grass after he left. So they kept the axe from the film that he'd been using. So yeah, it's all very strange. Yeah, it's Hollywood comes to Dordogne. So was it a natural division of the tasks between the 2 of you, or have you taken things over from each other? Because you've been open now this is the 3rd season.
We both started with adding our hub to online travel agencies, for example, but quite quickly Sven took over that one because that's how Sven works.
It was quite a natural flow of things. Things found their place.
Yeah, and that was a really nice surprise.
Financially, how has it been running this place? You've got good occupancy. So this year, how many weeks have you got?
This year we have 17 weeks of renting.
So that's not including the time that you spend here. This is 17 weeks of paying guests.
Correct.
And for 2026?
We are already at 14 weeks already.
14. So you're going to break the record probably next year.
Probably, yes.
Which months do they mostly come?
So it starts from, let's say, mid of April to the end of September. We're also doing promotion and marketing also to, I would say, to highlight the fall season.
I actually love being here in fall and spring as well.
Yeah, it's very beautiful.
The tourism board does quite a lot in these periods. In June, there's Chateau en Fête, so all these chateaux that aren't always open to the public open up. And in October, when there are a lot of half terms, there is medieval and wine festival. They started it last year towards the end of October, and it was really good fun. They had all these reenactments of battles at various castles, and they had wine tasting in Montpellier Square. And
yeah, there's a lot of benefit of going outside of the busy season. Busy season is already the big benefit. It's not that busy, so you can go to the big site like let's go and really enjoy it and not having lots of crowds around you. So it's really nice being here, and even the ramp up to Christmas is really fun here with all the Christmas markets.
Yeah.
We always have French people renting out the house for the Christmas period. So we don't have that many French people renting the place because for whatever reason, the French are always keen to celebrate in family or extended family their Christmas period. And even families living, 30 kilometers from here, they rent this place to convene and also to celebrate.
But I think that's really interesting because most gîtes close for the winter. So even though there are very few people looking to rent a place at Christmas, that there are some, there's actually not a lot of choice. And if you've got a really good property that ticks all the boxes, you've got lots of bedrooms here, lots of bathrooms, 2 kitchens, you can do a massive Christmas dinner.
We ask a bit more money in that period than compared to the real low season, correct?
Because of course your costs are much higher with heating and
etc.
Yeah.
So, yeah, of course, that's taken into account.
Yeah, that really helps your revenue.
Helps a lot.
What kind of revenue are you hitting this year with 16 weeks?
Now we are about between 45 and 55,000 euros.
That's really impressive, especially as you're doing so much of the work yourselves that actually the costs, okay, you've got cleaning costs and laundry costs and gardening, but otherwise you're doing all of the marketing and communication yourselves. You're not paying an agency to do that. You're not really paying a property manager to do everything for you. So what are your costs like? What are your biggest costs then?
Well, the biggest cost, of course, besides the exceptional one-offs, so it's the cleaning crew and the gardener, because we have a big green area of about almost 2 hectares. All park, it's 3 hours. The full park with professional machines takes 6 hours. So that's a lot of hours, of course. But we have to spend that effort, of course, because otherwise it doesn't look that as pretty as it does now. Of course, the cleaning crew, because there are so many rooms, bathrooms, the place is quite big. It's more than 200 square meters, both floors. So that's mainly, the man hours.
If you've got a 1-day changeover, so guests leave in the morning and new guests arrive in the afternoon, how many cleaners would you normally have to do the whole house?
3 cleaners.
3 cleaners, just doing the inside and the terrace.
Yeah, 3 cleaners, and also the gardeners also there present, also spending sometimes between 3 to 6 hours.
Yeah,
he takes care about the swimming pool, make sure the pool is up to date with the chemicals.
And it's year 3. Have you got returning guests already?
Yes.
Returning guests are wonderful because they know your place and it fits what they're looking for from a holiday, and you've experienced them staying here and you're happy with them. So it's a win-win, isn't it?
Yep. Yeah, we actually have a group of lovely guests so they will be back next year for the 3rd time. And the first year they I think they rented it for 1 or 2 weeks.
First year they stayed for 2.5 weeks, and they add another additional week somewhere in Bordeaux. The first day after the changeover, the husband called me, Sven, the second place is really not up to expectations. Can we rent your place again for 1 week? So, but sorry, it's already booked. Kick out those people. We'll offer you double tariff. He said, sorry, we cannot do that one, but for next year, if you want to stay, yes, send me the contract. But this time we want to stay for 3 weeks, so that's fine. And this year, so they stay for 3 weeks. And after the second week, say, okay, Sven, drop the contract. Next year, we want to stay for 4 weeks. Yeah.
That means if they're staying for 4 weeks, that's a quarter of the rental agreements and the communication with the guest and the full changeovers that you have to do. It saves you a huge amount of time and effort.
Yeah, from that perspective, it's great. It's amazing. We are over, so they will handle it well. And it's a big compliment. So yeah.
Massive.
Really cool.
When you have returning guests, certainly in an area like this, maybe there are bits of France where you go on holiday specifically to visit a chateau or the Normandy beaches, but in a place like this, if you're getting returning guests, then your product is right. You've done something right. And when you started out, did you think you were going to really enjoy having a gîte?
Ooh.
Were you quite nervous or excited?
No, not nervous, not stressed, actually excited. Because we started it as an experiment and we were really curious how would that feel like having people over in your home. Would it feel like your home still? It doesn't, I can tell you, not for me, not for you as well.
How interesting.
Yeah, it is. It's really strange because I feel at home when I'm here. Doesn't feel like my home. So it's really different from...
You can feel the ghosts of past guests here.
Yeah, does not feel like renting out my home like we have in the Netherlands, for example. It feels like a business when we're here.
When you're here, you're always thinking about the guests. What can we do to improve their experience?
Yeah.
And do you leave your clothes here and your sun cream, and you don't leave anything? You don't have a cupboard somewhere?
No, I think the only things which I leave here are some gear for hunting.
How funny. So it really is a base for you in France that's become a business.
Yep.
It is. When we had the idea, let's do the experiment to see if renting out works for us, then we really start to see the place as an enterprise, as a business. And also every change we make, every improvement we do, we always keep that one. Okay, do we like it? Do we like it as guests? How about the maintenance? Can we maintain it? Once we build it, can we also maintain that kind of high level of standard? Not even for year one, but also year 2, 3, 4, 5. And every time we open the gate, we come here for our own holidays. Of course, we never purely as holiday goers. We always have as owners, but we still have the feeling, wow, this is something special.
For us, we can do the check with, do we like it ourselves, because our target group is similar to what we like, but it could be a pitfall. So if you have a target group that's a little bit different from who you are yourselves and what you like, but you also need to check with reviews, for example. Read between the lines what they are not saying. Is there something that you think is really awesome? We have this, and nobody talks about this. It could be because it's not that special. Maybe it is, but they already expected it. But you can learn a lot from what people are saying, but also from what they're not saying.
Well, I think France needs more Sven and Sandras, because you're the opposite to, I think, the kind of traditional Gîte, which is a building that you're not using. So you think, let's make some money out of it by renting it out. And you think, okay, I need a bed, a table, some chairs. What have we got in the attic? And you put in this absolute crap. And there's no love, there's no design, there's no thought about the guests. And that's why I think sometimes Gîtes do get a bad rap. And you're the opposite. You're people who've bought a property, understood that it needs to be a business, and the business will only succeed by giving guests exactly what they want and more. And you've hit the nail on the head. So if you're like Sven and Sandra, come to France and open a Gîte. That's what I'm going to say. I think this is the most exciting part, because just as Frank and I set up a business, had no idea whether it would work, and created something special, we've then gone on to be able to create Gîte Guru and to take our passion and our knowledge and our experience and help others with it. And that, for me, is like the icing on the cake. It's so much fun to do. And you're both planning on doing something similar. So you're taking your love of Gîtes, and what are you going to be doing, Sandra? What are you doing?
I worked for a fast-paced retailer in the Netherlands, online retailer, for 18 years, and I have a background in consultancy. And we have this experience now, so we have a successful holiday home business, and we want to help other owners. One of the things, and that's really changing a lot right now, is the online marketing part of things. So it's the website, it's the branding. You have to build a brand. Even if you're just doing this as a side hustle, you need to have a brand now. With how AI is evolving, you need to be recognizable. You need to have a good target group. Your communication needs to be on par. We can help other people with that.
You left the online retailer that you work for, and you have set up.
Yeah, it's called Sand Markers.
Offering people with Gîtes or holiday homes, you're offering them to help them with their website, their marketing, their SEO.
And IT, so the other technical parts of things. So if you want to do a newsletter, there are actually things that you can implement to make it easy for yourself. Make it a fun thing and not a frustrating thing. I want to make sure that if people visit a property, that they already know what to expect.
But we were talking about marketing right at the beginning when you talked about the 6 horrific photos of this place that were on the estate agent's website.
Yeah.
And I think that's so funny that you bought the property from really bad marketing,
Yeah.
and you're now set up an online marketing company. It's kind of the circle is complete. Yeah. And Sven, what are you up to in Gîte world?
Also have some big plans on that one. In addition, with Sandra's work on make sure that people have also strategy and also online presence by having the right website which tells the entire story from A to Z. Traditional SEO, but also AI, let's say sociability. We are also starting together. I'm driving this right now, but also in combination with Sandra's business, that we also have a curated listing website with also high-end Gîtes, which have a certain level of comfort, high season, low season, but whenever they go to this website, they know all the comfort levels are at par. All those properties on that website will have the right marketing, the right pictures, the right movies.
What I love about this is that you saw a gap in the market, because you had these guests who'd stayed here previously who'd said, we really want to come back. And you're like, far too late. We're fully booked for next year in the period you want to come. And so you saw that actually you could refer them on to other places that you think are similar to this,
Correct.
that have that level of comfort and luxury. And it's exactly what we did with Gîte Guru. We saw a gap in the market and that we could provide something that other people aren't providing. And that's what makes it so exciting. So you're setting up this platform. It is going to be live for us to join.
I think in max 1 month.
Yeah.
Wow. And are you going to accept Le Mas and Le Mazette?
Mm,
You better. I'm not going to let you get away with that. Oh, that's brilliant. So that's one of your big projects that you're doing.
I learned a lot about running the Gite also on site. Also part of me being, like I was saying, a project manager. I really loved working with the hands. So I worked many years in IT, in financial services with the head. How I can apply those analytical skills with, I would say, handy skills. We're also starting a property management company, which will be on site, which will take care about the turnover moments, but also the greenery park, the pool services, make sure the chemicals are in order, making sure the pools are cleaned. If there are some questions about with the builder, that indeed in French, the right, I would say, the right questions are being transferred to the owner, the follow-up, making the picture, etc., etc. So a real on-site property management service.
And I think that's really exciting because you do understand what you were talking about before, this kind of long-term plan for your property. It isn't just about taking the leaves out of the gutter every autumn. It's about thinking, okay, what needs to be done to the pool in the next 5 years? And there's such a need for it around here. So both of you, when you started out here, it was the idea of just having a second home in France. Within 4 years of owning this place, you have set up a really successful business. You've both stopped the work that you were doing, and you're both setting up 3 or perhaps more lines of new business, all to do with Gîte. You've grabbed all the opportunities with both hands, and congratulations.
Thank you.
And what top tips would you have for people who have not yet started out with the Gîte?
Would actually be a good idea to first decide on that you're going to rent it out and then look for a property, of course. Look for experts, look for expertise. Certainly in areas that you're not experienced with yourself. People have gone before you and it's an investment. It's not a cost. Approach it like an investment. So you will get a lot of information and knowledge back that's really useful. And that's what we did with you in the beginning, of course.
Because running a Gîte, you have to be an expert in everything. Even when you're a couple and one of you is super handy and one of you is in marketing, it's still really difficult to be experts in every single way. If you're moving from outside of the EU, don't assume that you can get your visa on your own. Get an expert to help you. Doing bookkeeping and tax returns in France is really complicated. It's totally different to what we'd experienced in the Netherlands or the UK. So again, get an accountant to help you.
You have said before, if you want to do it the right way, he does the business, right? And also acknowledge that when you're entering this area of running a Gîte, for many people, it will be new. So get the right help. Make sure you have the right people to support you. Of course, if you don't do that one after a few years, but you will spend a lot of money incorrectly, or you will spend some money on areas, or I would say accessories, which doesn't add up to the comfort level. You pay more at the end if you don't buy this experience yourself.
You threw yourselves into the experience and you invested a lot of time and money, but you had so many exciting things happen. You got 5 stars right at the beginning. You've got returning guests from year 1 on. Maybe that excitement has helped you decide to give up your jobs and start up other businesses. If you hadn't have thrown yourselves in and got us around at the beginning and things had, slowly got going, maybe you wouldn't have this passion that you do now, or as much of it as you do now.
Yeah, so you're setting yourself up for success, right? So yeah, and that's always nice.
When we went out initially, we knew we had a great product. And of course, we knew about all the work done behind the scenes and how it would actually, I would say, come together. But of course, it's very nice to have also that confirmation by guests to say, wow, amazing.
They didn't see it before you started on this place, but they know you walk into this place and you know how much love and passion and time and blood and sweat and tears you've put into it. It's obvious.
Behind both what Sven and I are going to do, it is a big community thing as well.
We are a community. In a way, we could be kind of competitors now.
I also like to see that one, that we are a community, not I would say competing against each other. We would like to offer them the great experience, such one that they like to return. And if not in my holiday home, maybe next year in yours. maybe the year after they come again back to ours, etc., etc. So I rather to keep those guests in our community.
I think that's brilliant because the Dordogne is somewhere that when people come here and it fits what they're looking for, especially when you've got children, there's
Yeah.
so many activities to do here that you will want to return. And yeah, if the property you have found isn't available, then you just go to Sven and he'll sort it out for you.
Exactly. And I think that would be my number one tip then is approach it like a personal development journey as well. So you will grow from this. You will learn a lot.
Well, thank you both very, very much for all of your time.
Thank you.
And I will put the links to not only Maison Saint-Blaise, but also to your other businesses so people can get in touch with you. And I really look forward to seeing what evolves over the next 4 years for you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome to the Gite podcast. Brought to you by Gîte Guru.
I thought that was really interesting, especially the fact that when they bought the property, it was really only intended as a second home that they were only going to use 4 weeks a year during the holiday. And when they bought it, they then got the idea of turning it into a gîte. And what I found the most interesting was that because they have paying guests staying at their place and they have designed it with the guests in mind, it no longer really feels like their second home. It does feel like their property, but not their home. We have exactly the same feeling about our properties because we live here and we never live in our gîtes. And so our gîtes don't feel like our home, even though they're 15 meters away from our home, and how important the decision making around your rental options are. So with Sven and Sandra, they had this external staircase, which was it was 2 apartments. It was connecting externally 2 apartments with their own kitchens and living rooms and bedrooms. And so that threw up a lot of questions at the beginning about how are we going to deal with that? Would you rent them as 2 or would you rent them as 1? What are the pros and cons? How can you deal with, for instance, with low season? So think very carefully about your rental options. That's actually one of the first things we always do with our clients is look at the property and then figure out what's the best way of renting this out. I'm really impressed by how much of the work they did themselves on the place. It is absolutely stunning. Yes, we did give them quite a lot of tips. So hopefully you'll see a little bit of correlation between our gîtes and theirs with colors and things like that. They have saved so much money by doing it themselves. Brilliant that Sven was able to take a sabbatical. They have never had a TV crew stay at our place. So for me, that was really interesting to hear that actually it didn't go very well, that having a booking through a middleman and having people who were staying there not to be on holiday or to enjoy the place, but to work, that is a completely different setup. So really interesting for that and good to keep in mind if any of you do take on bookings from TV crews or any other kind of work-related bookings. And what I love the most about everything is the fact that they have thrown themselves into this project of running a gîte in France while they live in the Netherlands. They have enjoyed it so much that they are both actually giving up their salaried careers in order to expand what they're doing and to help others with the management of the property and with the management of the communication and marketing. So yeah, it's just like we did with Gîte Guru off the back of our gîtes. I really like the fact that running a gîte, if it goes really well and you do love it, that it can lead to more things and perhaps change your lifestyle a little bit. So I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode of the Gîte podcast. If you haven't met us before, we're Gîte Guru. That's Frank and me, Rupert. We run our own gîtes, Le Mas and La Mazette, and when we left our careers in Amsterdam back in 2015 to run these gîtes full-time, they became our livelihood. We had to make the business work. It wasn't always smooth sailing, but through trial, error, and plenty of learning, we've built a 32-week season, 60% of which are returning guests. We started Gîte Guru to share what we've learned and to help others succeed too. So if you're looking for free tips, insights, and inspiration, head to giteguru.com and subscribe to the Gîte podcast. For ongoing updates, behind-the-scenes posts, and relevant Gîte news, including tax changes and industry trends, follow us on Instagram at gite.guru. And if you're after more personalized support, we offer tailor-made advice around your business, your gîte, its interiors, facilities, and the services you offer, and not forgetting communication and marketing. So telling the story of your gîte and making it visible to your target groups. If you're interested, get in touch for a free Zoom chat about your property, plans, and how we could help you. And don't forget, follow us on Instagram at gite.guru. See you there.